How to be creative. 3 steps to avoiding over-professionality. Number 1. Avoid standardized pop tools like the plague, showing this off like still Daniel, what's his name? Whatever, that comedian from the Craig Ferguson show. Yeah, there you go. Just showing like receipts, and now second. Okay. So about that one, I would tell you that maybe it's best to not use things like Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro, or like just don't use like all the popular tools that we all use and know. And like, I mean, yeah, you want to say maybe use Audacity because it's free or some crap. You may want to say use um yeah, like I said, Adobe Premiere Pro or Photoshop for that matter, without Lightroom. Whoever does that, not everybody, everybody does. It's like um and every other like famous tool that works because it gets the job done, not because it's popular, because the job done. TM, I mean, quote unquote, quote unquote. The reason why is because that doesn't make you as creative as you think. Just because you have power doesn't mean you have freedom, and that's a very weird thing to say all of a sudden. Although I'm a philosopher runner, but you won't be guaranteed that much efficiency just because you can get the job done. There's a lot that comes into the confidence of your creativity if you experiment with new tools. And I'm going to record. Like, I just want to be creative. But there's something that comes with being creative, like exploring new horizons and trying new things out. That includes the tools you use, especially for example, the software. For that matter, like for me, I use Polar Photo Editor instead of Photoshop, not because I'm saving or some crap. I mean, I'm not technically because every year I still pay for Polar, but at least since recently. But it's more like Polar with no negative chagrin to um Photoshop. It's just that I find myself being more creative with the underrated tools, so to speak, and I find myself as someone who knows how hard it is to just use things in general, quote unquote trademark. It's not that I would never learn how to use Photoshop, and I'll experiment with that creatively as well in my own terms, even as much I'll be deep about that for some reason. I will eventually use Photoshop, and I will eventually use Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm not saying I'll never care about these things, whether I judge them or not, whether I bias the idea of them being popular or not, or effective for the job done, well, results or not. It's just that that's how I see it for that, to be creative. That's my idea of being creative. I hope it helps you in that sense, number 1. So number 2, here's my Craig Ferguson receipts, nanoseconds. Never use description signatures, not even for your social media accounts. It's I didn't really write that, but if you saw the nanosecond socials and nanosecond receipts. My bad. For Craig Ferguson joke. You'll notice that in most of my videos, I literally type out every single like description. Not even once have, and I quote this because not because I don't know how to. I could easily find out, but I literally don't type out socials to use only once in the autogen sig. It's called signature for video descriptions. I never typed that out once to figure out how to use that same copy paste over and over for each video, even with or without other manual descriptions aside the autogen sig, because it's like, to be creative, you're gonna want to be someone who puts in more effort. And people who are even workaholic artists don't know this for some reason. If you want to be creative, you want to be someone who will put in effort in the ways that people don't expect, because to expect the unexpected, sometimes you have to be the insanity that goes past the sanity that we know as insane, or more popularly against number 1. Sometimes you gotta go insane now saying the same you want to say. It's not that you never get to type in an autogen sig ever again. It's just that you can become more creative by knowing how to type in a manual one over and over, like me. You don't have to do it exactly like me. You don't have to be like insane and type these weird social links that don't even work for some reason, because I already know how that happens apparently, because I type these oddly creative things like that don't even work on the address bar for the socials, and then I type them even weirder ways sometimes, where even if you know what they are to search for, they still look weird, and it's like so that's just the socials alone. With the description in general, I type many other stuff, like the PS thing at the very end, the bonus thing. So my structure was description generalized, whether it makes sense or not, expansion on in-depth stuff about the video or the things that could be relevant, the socials, the acknowledgements for that, and the PS after that. And that's how I usually go about that. Number three. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, just make sure you're not getting overboard with this. If it drives you crazy to type the socials every single time for every video, how many you make, however you do that, then by all means go back to doing the all adjoints. Like, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that's how we creative. Number three, quote unquote, play my video editor game, end quote, and learn what it means to over justify the Rube Goldberg like it's still 1985 or some shit. It's not. I know the Rube Goldberg is. It was just a sandbox physics thing where you literally. Oh, I'm gonna start something out there. Where some like it's a concept where this mechanism makes a bunch of pointless and seemingly trivial moves to do one simple thing and overcomplicates it. My previous classic perspective of that was to make sure that even if it was pointless and trivial, then I still give it a reason. That comes from my other thing, doing everything for a reason. Yeah, I'm that kind of guy. But for Rube Goldbergs to still be pointless and trivial, or even meaningful in different ways, aren't still complicated, I'm the kind of guy who's like, okay, if I really want to uh, make an actual video editor video game that shows people how, and I can tease this in a claymation later if I want to. Oh yeah, that's a claymation idea for sure. But the video editor video game I didn't make yet because I don't know computer science that way. I do power ups instead, as I multitask multifaceted ways, including why I would play a double bass and piano at the same time, and no more instruments than that, musically speaking, and sing, and then just focus on that, as if that's a focus. I digress. The thing with the video editor video game was it was the idea of making a video game video editor not only crosses over those two worlds, but teaches you how to. This is relevant. I'll explain why. It teaches you how to have fun and see progress in a different light, philosophically speaking. Even it teaches you how to see counterintuitive and contradictory edits as things that help you find things you would never have found before if you didn't trust your intuition and mistakes and what seemingly looks like regrets and actually looks like something that gets you on the path of what you didn't realize you would have wanted anyways. As per not knowing where you're going but still knowing that it's worth it. And that was the concept of that video game. Since Deep Right has a campaign and a series mode, I guess you could say at some point. But I didn't make the editor at all, so that's my dream for you, dreaminess. But the whole point of number three is to explain that to be creative, you're going to want to be someone. That was a cool idea, right? That was a cool idea. You're welcome. But it's like that whole point on bullet number three, which these aren't necessarily bullets anymore. Never were supposed to be. I'm sorry about that. Is to make sure that you're creative enough to know that the ideas that you have don't have to fall through with a linear path. Nothing is linear in this world. Even if you want to focus on something that matters to you, you can still choose to be who you are. For me, it doesn't have to be humanity as a whole. It's been expressed as an idea before that every single human being was probably multifaceted by nature, not just by preference. But for me, if that's not true, even I'm still seeing myself as a multifaceted multitasker. I'm someone who wants to do all these variety content videos and doesn't want to assume that I don't need to be doing them just because I could focus on something that helps me grow faster on YouTube, or even knows that that would be better for my psyche and lifestyle and personally speaking, not just for YouTube growth, monetization, audiences, etc. My idea was to be multifaceted because I knew that that mattered for me. To be someone who did varieties of things that made me passionate for those things, not just the things I detest or haven't tried yet, or whatever it means. Multifacetedness is my idea of being creative. It is my idea of trying again, like number one, new things, and like number two, things that put more effort than necessary, because they're still necessary, more than you realize. It tries new things in general. That's the whole point. That's the part of the underlying theme of this whole video, is trying new things to be creative. That's all I'm saying here. Is that the things that you think are calculated risks? I made a video about this on the other alt channel. I won't show you that because I'm looking properly in the socials. uh, is that you will want to understand what calculated risks are, maybe, but until then, calculated or not, these risks of trying new things and being who you think is creative will teach you how to be creative in the best possible way. That could even mean more real things for you than anyone else, even if you still want to teach people. But this is my idea of being creative. I don't mean to be sound bummy or aggressive or anything like that. That's just how I see the world sometimes. In my experience of being a creative person, when I don't understand my creativity, so for some weird reason, still leads into spills into something like this. And to be honest with you, I enjoy being my own version of creative. Even if I don't think I'm a creative person, I am probably a creative person, but even if I don't understand creativity like I should, I still am creative, and so can you. But just try to be yourself, but that's all.